Yo, 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 what is going on, guys? Hope it's having a fantastic day. Hope everyone's enjoying their work week. I hope, well, it's the weekend, actually. I don't even know what day it is half the time. But I want to go over some news with the Philadelphia Eagles. And one thing I definitely want to talk about is Quez Watkins going to this whole entire video. From stuff I heard from, Jakib Sports and really the last day of OTAs, or maybe the last couple days of OTAs, from the beat writers really being there the past couple weeks, really just 2 days of practice. And I kind of want to get into that whole thing about Quez and things that maybe we're being told lies. Maybe it's not looking as good as we think it's looking right now. So it's going to be a rant. It's going to be a little bit of a thing that I'm going to go through right here, and a clip that I definitely want to play as well. So let's get straight into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
So when we talk about players, okay, now when I talk about players and people that have been around this channel for a long time, a few months, a few years from the start, whatever the case may be with it. When I hate a player or don't like a player, trust me, I will make videos about it like there's no tomorrow, and every bad thing that I hear about will be said. And then there's other videos where I make about certain players that if I make a video about Quez Watkins, it's because I really want him to be better. I really want him to have a better year, especially in a contract year like this year, which I think is really important. Last year wasn't a perfect year for Quez Watkins. There were some crucial things that happened last year. Just didn't look like the same player, and unfortunately was given a lot of opportunity at the end of the year when he wasn't playing consistent games, when he had that grade 2 shoulder sprain, and mistakes were made. And what I can respect about Quez Watkins is that he was very humble about at the end of the year, and he has really promised the Eagles fans that no one is taking his job. I mean, really going on Twitter and saying, I'm going to make y'all eat your words, really after when the Eagles signed Alamati Zacchaeus. I know I'm saying his name wrong. I don't care at this point. I don't care. And, he really took a stand. He saw that Eagles fans are really kind of taking him off the board of this team, really saying, he's nothing. Let's bring in another receiver and see what happens here. Now, we were hearing good things. Remember when Nick Sirianni, went to the podium, last day of OTAs? That was, the beat writers were there at that point, and, Nick really protected, Quez Watkins. Who is the biggest camp standout, for Nick Sirianni? And he said Quez Watkins. Now, one part of this is making me feel like he only did this because he wants to take more heat off Quez. And you know what? I understand. Nick Sirianni is a player's coach. The coaches should always protect their players. That is their job, whether it's they have a good game, bad practice, bad OTAs, bad training camp, bad preseason game, whatever the case may be with that. A coach should always protect their players at all costs. That is his job. Obviously, these coaches and these players are not going to tell you the full truth. It's just, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So I want to play a clip from Jakib Sports. Really short clip. It's not, you don't even see it. It's really audio for like 5 seconds. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted for it. Please, God, don't. So this is what John McMullen had to say about the practice, and which I didn't even know. We heard that Quez made a really big play at practice, and maybe the last day of OTAs, maybe Quez didn't look as good than we thought he was going to be. That wasn't, I guess, reported, or I don't know. It might have been the same day, but it wasn't reported. I'm not sure. So I'm going to play this clip right now.
Nick jumped on his sword for Quez Watkins yesterday. Went through all that because he talked before practice. Then he had an opportunity to make a play in practice. Perfect throw down the field. Didn't get his head around in time. Didn't track the ball. It was very Nelson Aguilar-like. Was in position to make the play. Didn't make the play. Right after the head coach just went out of his way to defend him. Didn't make the play. Now it's one play in June.
So that was really it. I mean, I don't want to play too much of it, obviously, because you can't get away with doing anything these days. So that was really like it. So I guess this happened before practice started, and Quez dropped the ball that was perfectly in his hands and still dropped it. Now, how, and like John McMullen said, it's one catch in June. Whoop-de-doo. But it is not like we haven't seen this before. You know what I mean? We've seen this before. You know, like, that Super Bowl really pissed me off, not just because of, you know, the slippery field and everything else that was really pissed me off about this defense and special teams, but really the top two positions in your offense that barely produced, even though the offense played really well, which could have done a lot more, was wide receiver 3 and your running back core. Okay? Those are your two positions that just produced the least in the Super Bowl. And I don't put anything more on the offense, really, because it was really on the defense and it was really on special teams. So I'm not going to, be like, it's on the offense, No, it's not. But I'm just nitpicking at this point and going through, like, the top two positions that really didn't produce that much. And there's nothing wrong with a position group not producing every game, like, sometimes the run is not going to work. I put it more on the receiver core at wide receiver 3 because that is really the focal point of that game. You know what I mean? With Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and, Quez Watkins that missed so many games due to injury. And they throw him in a Super Bowl and give him the most important catch of the game, which there's a lot of plays that are important. Every play is important. Duh, I know that. But to give for a guy that's not playing consistent games and you put him in that position to make a big play, I guess to show his confidence, but you got to be really careful with things like this. You know what I mean? We were hearing about Quez Watkins trade rumors. How much of this could actually be true? You know what I mean? In my heart, I feel like Quez will have a good year. But then when I hear news like this, it makes me think, like, even though he drops one catch in June, he dropped one catch. I can't make a big deal out of it. It's not like he was thrown to by Jalen Hurts 10 times and he dropped 8 catches. Then I would be more serious about it. But one catch in June is one catch in June. But you always have to think, is this going to transcend into next, this upcoming season? You know what I mean? That's what you're worried about. So they obviously for camp, you're always bringing in a ton of wide receivers. Okay. Here are maybe not for the slot, but they're trying to find more depth at receiver. Signing Joseph Nagata to the most undrafted free agent money is probably a sign. Signing Alamadi Zaccheaus, saying his name wrong, don't care, okay? Signing him showed that they needed more depth, but needed more competition at the position as well. You know what I mean? There's really nothing else but that's really concrete. Yeah, we could talk about DeAndre Hopkins coming here. We could talk about, maybe Julio Jones being a depth piece. I don't know. You know what I mean? The DeAndre Hopkins situation is just he's visited, a couple teams already. He's visited the Titans. He's going to be visiting the Patriots. And look, until I see him visiting the Eagles, there's really nothing concrete about it because I didn't know he was actually going to go start visiting teams. I thought he was just going to wait and just pick a team and talk to a bunch of teams on the phone and pick his place. But there are some free agents out there that want to take their time, and he is taking his sweet time, and that's perfectly fine. He wants to make sure he's put into the right position, to get closer to a ring or be on a great roster. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay. Now, beginning of 2022, I loved how they used Quez Watkins. Even, I was at the Vikings, primetime game week 2, and, I saw Quez, wide open down the field, burning everybody. I mean, he's got that burn mentality. I mean, he's got it. He's had some setbacks, you know what I mean? And they're crucial, you know what I mean? Quez Watkins fumble in that Washington game we would have been 8-0, you know what I mean? Quez Watkins dropping the Super Bowl. I mean, there are times during a lot of games I have to go over that Hurts will extend the play, and as a wide receiver 3, I think it's the most crappy position because you're not the focal point guy of that offense. And if Hurts extends the play and he throws the ball to you and you're not prepared for it, and there were times where Hurts threw the ball to him in the perfect spot and Quez was not paying attention, you always have to be ready as a wide receiver 3. That's why I don't like that position that much. I would hate to play that position. That's just me. So I'm not crappy on Quez Watkins. I think Quez is a good player. Now, McMullen actually talked about, Nelson Aguilar, the comparison between Quez and Nelson Aguilar. Obviously, Nelson Aguilar was a first-round pick. Nelson Aguilar was a great route runner, got separation, but he couldn't catch the football. Couldn't get his head around to the football. And with here, you have a guy that is showing a lot of flashes where he can catch the ball and be aggressive and go after the football. But obviously, sometimes, he's got that same problem that Nelson Aguilar had in catching and getting his head around and tracking the football and staying concentrated when catching the football has been one of the biggest problems. You know what I mean? But I'm not saying Quez, I want the wide receiver 3 position to be very productive when it is asked. When Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball, when the guys get open, this is a position of need. I don't want to get into another Super Bowl where every starting position should be on their A game, okay? And unfortunately, that position is not on their A game. And it really disappeared throughout the year. It wasn't one game. It was a few games. It was more than a few games where wide receiver 3 was, the Eagles would rather use double tie-in sets than throw to a wide receiver 3. The Eagles would rather attack with Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts scrambling. They would rather run more RPOs, more quarterback sneaks. They'd rather do any more of that than throw the ball to Quez Watkins. Okay, I feel like the Eagles gave up on Quez during the season, even after he got injured, and then they started to he came back a little bit. You know what I mean? When he got back later in the season, they started giving him a little bit more opportunities, not even that much, but a little bit more. They started, using more wide receivers, even if you're not using double tight end sets, they, would be using Zach Pascal a lot more. And, he mostly in the beginning of the season, Zach Pascal did more of the dirty work, the blocking, and then gave him more opportunity down the road. And I felt like they kind of gave up on Quez a little bit, and then finding out he had the grade 2 shoulder sprain. I think it was after the Pittsburgh game. And then he didn't show up for a bit. And then, I don't get why, I totally get it. Like, they think very highly of Quez. They put him in the Super Bowl and they try to give him one of the biggest passes of the game. You know what I mean? Quez gets that touchdown. You never know what could happen. You know what I mean? But it's due to a lot of things. It's not, or Quez catch that ball for a big gain. You never know what could happen at that point. You know what I mean? So I understand it. I totally get it. This is not up to Nick Sirianni, okay? This roster is not up to Nick. It's up to Howie Roseman at the end of the day. If Howie Roseman thinks that the Quez Watkins is not good enough for this offense, there could be a change at that position. It could be Zacchaeus. As much as, I'm actually want to see what this guy could do. I've seen a couple plays from camp from him, and he looks real fast. He looks quick. Looks quicker than Quez. I mean, he's a pure slot guy. Most Eagles fans think, and I kind of agree with it, that Quez is more of an outside receiver than a slot. And he's probably out of position a little bit, maybe. But he's not bad in the slot. He just has to pay more attention in that position. That's all I really, got to say about it. So I don't want to get on too much of a rant here, but I feel good about Quez, and I don't think one drop during OTAs is going to it's concrete of what he's going to do this season. But to see, literally getting separation. I mean, from what John said, it was good separation. Nobody was draped on him, and he dropped a perfect ball placement. I mean, just a perfect pass, and he just couldn't haul it in. You know what I mean? So you always have to worry, like, is this going to happen this season? I don't know. I don't know if it is. So we have to go through training camp to see not only what Quez can do, but we got to see if anyone else is going to step up. You know what I mean? We got to see, you have undrafted free agents. You have Hayden, you have Hayden, you have Jaden Hazelwood. Sorry, I can't say his name. Jaden Hazelwood. I mean, you got Joseph Ngata that they paid a lot of money to. I mean, Charleston Rambo, made the tryout for training camp, so he'll be there. You know what I mean? So, and nothing's promising with those guys. I mean, we're just going to see what happens. But, the Eagles have done really good in the undrafted free agent pool. But at wide receiver, not as much. I mean, you'll find one, maybe an offensive lineman that has something, maybe a tight end. Obviously, you know what I mean? Like Jack Stahl was an undrafted a couple years ago, and look what he's turned into. Pretty good for being undrafted. Not bad for the value you're getting back from him. Even if he's a backup, who cares? So you can always hit on guys like that. But from right now, I think people should not panic. I think we should really hone in and just let Quez do Quez, see what he does. Obviously, if he starts dropping a lot of balls and then we're going to be like, yeah, this isn't great. You know what I mean? If we see him really struggling where it's like, Hurts throws him 10 passes and he drops 8 of them in one day, then I think we need to worry a little bit. And I think they might not trade him, but they definitely have to make a move or do something to upgrade. Or they put Zacchaeus in front of him. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what's up their sleeve. They have 4 open roster spots right now. No idea what they're going to do with them. It could almost be anything could happen at this point. So that's what I think about the whole situation. This isn't hating Quez, this is nothing. This is just what is being said. And I'm just reporting it, and that's really it. But my opinion is, I think Quez will have a good season. I'm hoping. That's what I'm taking from it. I'm not going to make a big deal out of one drop catch. And I agree with John on that. Like, it's one drop catch in June. You can't be like, oh my God, we have to do something. We have to upgrade. We have to, he can't start. You know what I mean? If Howie Roseman feels like Quez isn't the right guy, he will. He doesn't need permission from anybody. Howie Roseman will make a move if he has to. If Howie Roseman makes a move at that position, another move at wide receiver during training camp or before training camp, then that means that they don't have faith in Quez, or Howie doesn't have faith in Quez. And I appreciate what Nick Sirianni trying to defend his, defend his players. That's what a coach is supposed to do. So you can't, you know what I mean? These are people at the end of the day. These are guys. He wants to do as much as he possibly can for his players to get more money, to get to play better. That's just the world that we live in. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? So a coach is always going to do that. But yeah, I mean, Quez is really, from a 6th-round pick, 5th, 6th-round pick. Quez has played very good in value. There's no doubt about it. Okay, from a value standpoint, it's tremendous. It's great. And he really worked his tail off. Playing inside, outside receiver, never really getting his chance until like last offseason. He just really started coming into his own. I feel like there's something there with him. It's just, as a number 3, he just has to do a little bit more. It's just not enough. If that wide receiver 3 position can go up like at least 25 to 30% better next year, man, on top of what we have with the running back core and the offensive line and Jalen Hurts extending play, it's going to be unstoppable, where this team is going to score 35 plus points, maybe even more than that every single game with a hard schedule. You know what I mean? So with the conference being as weak as it is right now, take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? And it can get to another Super Bowl. But you want to go into another Super Bowl where you have to deal with a player that's going to have one of the biggest drops. And Quez wasn't playing consistent games. He wasn't starting every game. That's the issue I have with that. If Quez was playing every game, I wouldn't care about that drop too much. But even when it's on him, it's still on him. But when he's not even playing consistent games at the end of the year, and they're just like, oh, hey, here, we're going to give you this big catch, try to get it, and that happens. It's just crappy at the end of the day. So that's all I want to talk about, guys. Nothing crazy. So I hope everybody has enjoyed the weekend. I hope everyone enjoys their weekend, all that great stuff. If you guys last this long in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well. We're going to reminisce on a lot of things, but definitely some things to definitely talk about within this roster. Maybe I'll come out with, who I think my 3 disappointments will be, maybe players that are really not going to work out, so you never know what could happen here, but we'll see down the road. We still have a little bit to go until training camp, and we're kind of going to be doing the news as the day goes on and all that great stuff. So look out for some live streams. I'm going to have another live stream soon. Another special guest is going to be on my channel, and it's going to be a lot of fun, so you guys enjoy. Make sure you like, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Remember, shakes what up, follow us live. Peace out, guys. Peace.